Hi, everybody, and welcome to Fox Sports Ohio's special presentation, Brandon Dubinsky Revealed. I'm Dave Maetzold. To know Brandon Dubinsky at all is to know a guy who certainly has a zest for life. On the ice, he's a fierce, hard-nosed competitor, the very embodiment of the term intense, right? Away from the ice, several words describe him: determined, stylish, polished, and maybe above all, dad. Now, Brandon Dubinsky grew up far away from the life that most of us are used to here in the lower 48. He's a product of Anchorage, Alaska, and his lifestyle up there way different from what most of us are accustomed to. We begin our story there.
The lightness and the darkness is unique. You know, like I said, it's dark a lot in the wintertime, but in the summertime it's the exact opposite. It's light all the time, and you know, almost 2, 3 in the morning it's still light out. So. You know, so you get some weird things. You get kids, you know, still playing outside and on the streets at midnight. You know, people are mowing their lawns, you know, where you wouldn't have that anywhere else. And it's kind of, you know, because you lose a little bit of a sense of time there. And everybody's just kind of up and at 'em still at that time.
He had his group of friends, and, you know, they were out riding bikes or playing roller hockey or just doing what boys do. I mean, we couldn't say come in at dark because that could be midnight. So definitely had to, you know, give them a time. You have to be home.
You know, as a kid, you don't really realize that until later on in life when you go back home. But you know, we had a lot of opportunities to play a lot of hockey and skate outside. You know, I had a rink in my backyard. You hear that all the time. But you know, my dad was out there hot mopping the thing early in the morning before school, and we were out there playing. And when school was over, we were out there playing again. So, you know, childhood was really fun in Alaska.
His older brother, Bobby, started playing hockey when he was 3, and Brandon really aspired to do what his brother did. And it didn't stop there. He, you know, lived and breathed hockey. I
mean, as a kid, I did, you know, the soccer and the t-ball and stuff like that, but, you know, I really wanted to play hockey all the time. So. At a young age, I started playing, you know, summer hockey and doing the traveling in the summer and playing in different cities and different tournaments and things like that.
He would get angry actually in the summer when there was no ice or anything, and I want to play hockey. So rollerblades had come out not too long before, and we put him on those, and it was roller hockey in the streets, and when he didn't have ice, and ice when it was available.
Wow, so yeah. Hockey.
Hockey.
And as the young Dubinsky grew, so did his love for the game of hockey. Hockey became more than just a game. It became a way of life. Fate soon would steer a 16-year-old to a destination he had never envisioned. He was faced with a life-changing opportunity that would change his life and his family's life forever.
That was heartbreaking for me. I was very excited for him, because I thought they're going to go to, you know, tryouts. It'll be a good experience, you know, but he's young and he's pretty little still, you know, so we'll see how it goes.
It was a little different for me because I didn't really have it on my radar. I wasn't exactly planning on going. I went down there to actually Kimberley, BC, where they had their camp, and you know, just for some ice time, and they ended up offering me a contract, and I signed it thinking I was going to still be able to go home and say bye to my mom and my friends, and instead of that, I found myself on a bus headed to Tri-Cities to play a preseason game.
And he called me and said, "Mom, I have good news and bad news." I'm like, "Well, what?" He says, "I made the team." I was like, "Wow, that's great. You know, I'm really happy for you." And he's like, "But the bad news is I don't get to come home. I have to go directly to Portland." And I was not ready for that.
Going to a bus to a city that I've never been to with 21 guys that I've never met before, and coaching staff and a GM, and you know, go from minor hockey and the relaxation to, you know, really being, you know, part of a semi-professional team.
He had just turned 16 and he was still young, and it was heartbreaking as a mom. You know, he's going to be moving out of the house. I wasn't ready for that, and didn't know who he was going to be living with. So, you know, a lot of concerns, but a lot of excitement for him as well.
Once I got to junior, I was a bit undersized. I was about 5'9", 160 pounds when I got to major junior my first year in Portland. And so all the guys were bigger and stronger than I was. And So I had to fight and claw. I was kind of like the little brother. I had to fight for ice time and space on the ice, and eventually it evolved into just being a pest out there, and ultimately getting voted probably the most irritating player in the Western Hockey League. So it just was part of my game that I needed in order to be successful.
He always had goals for himself, and this was part of him reaching his goal. And he's always been a strong individual, and knew that he would do well, but with the support of his family.
So many great players have played in that league and gone on to have great, successful NHL careers. And I realized that at that time that if hockey wasn't going to be for me, I could always go back to college and be a 19-year-old or a 20-year-old college kid. But if it did work out, how lucky I'd be, and ended up becoming a bigger part of the team than I thought I was going to. And then the following year, I had a great season, and ended up getting drafted. And after that, happened after that year was really kind of when, I felt like there was a good chance that I could play in the National Hockey League. And Jim Schoenfeld was my coach, and he really taught me how to play a good two-way game, and which was going to be the way that I was going to be successful in the NHL. Because I just, I had a lot of skill and stuff like that growing up, skill in junior, stuff like that. But the guys with skill here are really, really high-end, talented guys, and I wasn't quite that skilled. So I needed to make sure that I was good in my own zone, and so he really taught me how to play in front of my own net, the importance of playing in your own zone, the importance of face-offs. And once I was able to put those things together, I feel like I knew I had a really good chance at playing in the NHL and having a good career. I didn't know exactly when I was going, but you do a lot of interviews with teams. You just kind of get some feelings on how the interviews went and the teams that want you. And it was actually, believe it or not, Columbus was one of the teams that I felt pretty good about, and they picked right before I ended up getting drafted. So I thought that I was going to be that pick, and then they took Kyle Wharton, and the next pick was the Rangers. And I remember turning to my dad and saying, I think this is going to be it.
That was always the team in the house. His dad grew up in New York on Long Island, and so that was always the favorite team. So we were always watching the New York Rangers, and to go to North Carolina and to have him drafted to New York was unbelievable. I mean, it was excitement and tears and just, I can't believe this is happening.
Your mom said that, again, it was elation, tears, everything, with the realization that she had a son who was going to be in the National Hockey League. What was it like being that son, and turn into your parents and, oh, here it is? Obviously getting drafted was an amazing feeling. I knew I had a lot of work to do to play in the National Hockey League, but it was certainly a first step. And, we were just, everybody was happy together because of the sacrifices that, both my parents made in order for me to play hockey, time-wise, financially-wise, all those type of things. So it was a special day for all of us.
Gabrick, one touching, here's a chance, they score! What a goal and a tic-tac-toe, Brandon Dubinsky.
Fast forward to New York and not talk about hockey, but talk about all of a sudden you see this girl, she's beautiful, you say, hey, you know what, I think I might want to pursue this woman, maybe ask her out on a date. How did everything work out with Brenna where it got to the point where you are now? But take us to the early days.
Yeah, we met through a friend of ours. One of my good friends was, dating a girl that she went to college with.
We just kind of were at the same party and we became friends, and it turned into a relationship. So it was really fun to meet that way. And I did not know that he played hockey, so that was also really great.
Actually, the first time we met each other, we didn't really like each other too much, but as we got to know each other, it was good. And actually, her first hockey game, she didn't even know what number I was. I think I had one of my good friends there, and she turned to one of her friends and said, "How come he doesn't play very much?" And I don't remember what number it was, but she had the guy with the wrong number.
Young couple falling in love in New York City. Is there any more romantic way to start a relationship than that?
No, it was really special. And to live in New York during the time frame that we were there for, it was, I was, let's see, 24 to like 28. It just was a great time.
A budding romance between a hockey-playing Alaskan and a former collegiate basketball star from the Big Apple would soon take their relationship to the next level. I asked her the engagement story. I want to hear it from your perspective on how that whole thing went down and maybe the creative process that went into it from your perspective down in Mexico.
It was, you know, one of those things that you're trying to think of how to do it.
Basically, he set up a private dinner on a boat, and we were in this little catamaran, and we just had this amazing dinner.
You know, through the whole dinner, I don't really remember the conversation just because I was just, you know, waiting. The anticipation was building of when I was going to ask her, and finally we were just sitting on the back of the boat, and the time was right.
We had our feet dangling in the water, and he popped the question there. It just was so romantic.
Yeah, so he didn't get down on one knee, it just...
We were already sitting, we were already sitting.
Perfect,
Yeah.
love it. All right, and there was no hesitation, you said yes.
Yeah, right away.
That night we went and drank champagne with a bunch of people that we didn't know and celebrated with them, and it was a lot of fun.
I think it's really funny because when I met Brandon, I did not know that he played hockey, and so also my family is a basketball family, so when I met him, it was like a whole new sport to dive into that I really had no clue about, and it was really, really fun. And even when Brandon was playing for the New York Rangers, I got to learn the game slowly with him, and I'd ask questions and this. I love it. I love hockey, and now my family loves hockey, and they love watching Brandon. So when I'm in the stands, I feel like I'm like, boom, right in there, you know, because I want to see him playing, I want to see him moving and stuff like that. And I think that's the competitiveness in me that, you know, like I'm so glad that he can experience that still, you know, because it doesn't leave you, you know, but it's just really fun to watch him play the sport that he loves.
Two athletes coming together. She obviously played basketball at a very high level. You play hockey at a very high level. Is there competitiveness all the way through? Does that competitiveness ever leave either one of you?
I don't think it does. We certainly are competitive with each other.
We are a little bit too competitive, but it ends up like just us laughing about it. But we can get competitive about anything. So from eating too fast to any type of sports to, I don't even know, just everything. But it is really fun, and again, we just laugh about it. But we both played sports growing up, and he still plays it, and I don't think that will ever leave us.
We've had a few basketball matches, one-on-ones, and you know, she's a lot better shooter than I am. And I remember the first time I was kind of thinking, you know, college basketball player, but women's college basketball, they can't be that good. And I think she made about 5 or 6 3-pointers in a row, and I was like, okay, maybe they are pretty good. So. We had some one-on-one battles, you know, and she's really competitive. She would get mad at me if I wasn't, you know, playing defense hard enough or things like that, and you know, that she carries that over to other things too. But we have a lot of fun with it. Brandon
is better at playing basketball than I am skating on the ice, and I think that the ice is an unfair advantage for Brandon. But yeah, I'm terrible ice skater, so he has that right there. But with basketball, we just have fun. I mean, he takes it, you know, he goes hard, but I go hard too. So yeah, I got him in horse, but one-on-one, he's a little aggressive.
You can't hang with her in horse. Maybe one-on-one is a better option for you there?
Yeah, you know, one-on-one, I got a little bit more size and strength than she does, so I can kind of back her into the hoop and do a layup, but certainly wouldn't win a shooting contest, that's for sure.
What do you call him?
Brandon.
Do you ever call him Doobie?
No.
What is, if you had to put a percentage on the people who call him Doobie over Brandon,
God.
what's the percentage?
95% of people call him Doobie. Yeah. I just always have called him Brandon.
I got to ask you about fashion, Doobie, because everybody talks about you with the lots of shoes, lots of clothes, always looking good. Where did that develop in you? Was that in New York?
Yeah, I think it was just trying to, keep up with everybody in New York. When I got there, guys would, they were always competing about who had the nicer suits or ties or bags on the plane and stuff like that. And we almost joked that our team was sponsored by Louis Vuitton because everybody carried a Louis Vuitton bag.
How many shoes does he have? How many pairs of shoes does he have?
I don't know how many, but I do know that he has more than I do, which is true.
That's a lie. That's a flat out lie. She has way more shoes than I do.
Does he ever go out of the house without checking to say, yeah, okay, I look all right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
No?
He throws a hat on.
Come on,
yeah.
I'm not buying it.
The hair's not always like that every day. Yeah.
Newlyweds Mr. and Mrs. Brandon Dubinsky had life right where they wanted it, living in one of the biggest cities in the world, hand in hand, while growing together as a young married couple. And then one phone call changed their lives once again.
I think it was great. I think for both of us, having just gotten married, it was kind of like a fresh start somewhere together as a couple. And we both had some single times and stuff like that in New York. So to come somewhere together, and have a completely fresh start and build something together and build, friendships and relationships and, go and try, new places where we could create our own memories I think that was really cool.
When we moved here, we were a little nervous, like I don't have family around, Brandon doesn't have family around, we didn't have any friends. And just the hockey team in general is so close here, and it really has turned into our family, and it made the transition so much easier for us, and it was awesome.
Parenthood, what did it mean to you? You've been in it now for a year. What did it mean to you to have not just a son who you hope maybe will play hockey one day, but be a dad? What did it mean to you?
I think that parenthood kind of puts everything in perspective. If you have a bad day on the ice or a bad game or a bad practice or something, he's still going to smile and love you when you come home. So it allows you to separate the game and, your personal life.
Brady's been great for us. So Brandon and I have had the opportunity to really take it slow with Brady and kind of get to know ourselves as parents, and like I said before, Brandon, so many B's, Brandon is an amazing dad.
You changed diapers. Brandon Dubinsky at the changing table, yes or no?
I've changed quite a few diapers, yes. I would say that Brandon takes the majority of them, that's for sure, but if he's got a poopy diaper or, whatever, and I have him in my hands, I'll take him back there and change him. I won't pass him off.
Will he have a basketball in his hand or a hockey stick in his hand?
I figure that every time Brandon goes away for hockey, maybe I'll just roll him a basketball.
Right now, the way he's going as far as his growth, it looks like he's going to be a basketball player because he's a tall boy, but we'll see. I'm sure we'll have a lot of fun with it, and hopefully he just likes to play.
Jack Johnson backhands in deep. Fleury had a bounce over a stick, thrown in front of the net, empty. He scores! Dubinsky has tied it!
Are there moments when you're on the ice now as an NHL veteran player, earning good money, where you think back on your young days playing the game? Are there moments where you think, okay, I remember this feeling from when I was a kid, and I have it now, and it still drives you today? Are there any similarities, any chains to the past that still drive you on the ice?
I'm not sure. I would say that, there's so many peaks and valleys as a hockey player, even from your youth hockey all the way up to where we are now. As a young kid, I loved practice. I always wanted to skate. I would stand at the rink and try and skate with as many teams as I can. And then I went through some years where I didn't love to practice, but I knew that I had to, so I kind of just pushed through it. And I feel like now, back in the NHL, I enjoy actually going out there and practicing again. So it's just kind of funny. So I think about that a little bit because you got a good group of guys that you come in every day with, and you have the banter in the locker room and the fun and things like that, and you go on the ice and you work hard and have fun, and practice is fun for me now, and I think that's helped me become a better player.
The room, the character of the guys in the room. I have covered a lot of sports in a lot of different venues, and that room seems to be a pretty close room, and a bunch of guys who really care for one another, and they're all pulling at the same level, I would guess. Tell me what it's like from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the guys in the room are great, and you know, we have a lot of fun together, and you know, we work hard together in practices, you know, and workouts out, you know, after practices, you know, and then we're able to you know, almost the whole team go over to, you know, a guy like James Wisniewski's house and have Thanksgiving with them. So, you know, my son's birthday was yesterday, his birthday party, and you know, almost all the guys showed up, and the guys that didn't, you know, gave gifts today or texted yesterday saying, hey, I can't make it for one reason or another. And you know, so I think that really just speaks to the character of the guys. You know, celebrating a 1-year-old's birthday party probably doesn't mean, you know, the young guys, the single guys, probably doesn't mean that much to them, but it meant enough to them, you know, because it was my son that, you know, they came, and that's what I think, you know, really makes the team special.
Well, Brandon Dubinsky has certainly come a long way from skating on those ponds in Anchorage, Alaska. He's also lived a lifestyle that most of us could only dream of, yet he's never forgotten where he's come from. What's next for Brandon Dubinsky? Who knows? But we do know that whatever challenges he faces, he'll handle them with the same fierce tenacity that has allowed him to become an NHL caliber player and a very proud father and husband. Thanks for joining us for this edition of Revealed. Brandon Dubinsky, I'm Dave Maetzold.